when Earth disappeared. When Earth disappeared from the viewport, Captain Mira Safonova was still holding a child's mug with a painted bear on it. The mug was empty. The bear was smiling. Beyond the glass, where a second ago a vast blue sphere had hung beneath spirals of white cloud, there was now only black, impossible emptiness. Not space. Space is never truly empty. In space there is always something for the eye to catch. A dusting of stars, the faint glow of distant galaxies, the silver dots of satellites, the pale scratch of the moon, the slow and patient light of the sun. But this darkness had no depth, no distance, no horizon. It looked as if someone had taken a blade and cut the universe out of the window. Mira stood motionless. On the observation deck of the orbital station cradle, a decorative fireplace crackled softly. Of course, there could be no real fire here. The flame was a hologram, and the sound was an old audio recording. Wood splitting, embers settling, resin hissing in the heat. They turned it on for the children before sleep, because the psychologist believed a human being survives space more easily when something ancient and earthly was nearby. Now the artificial fireplace seemed to be the only real thing left in existence. Mira slowly set the mug down on the table. "January," she said. There was no answer. "January." The station's calm voice came from the ceiling. "I am here, Captain. Where is Earth?" The pause lasted 2 seconds, too long for an artificial intelligence. According to navigational data, the object designated Earth is absent. Mira closed her eyes. "Clarify. The object designated Earth is absent from all available optical, gravitational, radar, and historical observation channels." "Historical?" "Yes." Mira opened her eyes. "What do you mean, historical?" "No confirmed record of the planet Earth exists in the database." This time the silence became as dense as water. Mira could hear her own breathing. She could hear the soft hum of life support systems somewhere beyond the wall. She could hear the crackle of non-existent wood. "That is an error," she said. "Probability of a system-wide error, 4.7%. And the probability that Earth has disappeared, not only physically, but from history, 0.000. Stop." The fireplace crackled. Behind 2 sealed doors, in the children's sector, 118 children were asleep. The last children of Earth. They had been sent to the station cradle for 3 months as part of an experimental adaptation program for life beyond the planet. The best doctors, the best teachers, the best psychologists. A short excursion into the future of humanity. Mira was the station's captain. Her task had been simple: maintain safety, manage the schedule, keep the children calm, and bring them home. Home was gone. Not destroyed, not silent, not lost. It had never existed. "January," Mira said, and for the first time her voice trembled. "Show me the last recording from the external cameras." The transparent wall lit up. Earth was there. Blue, alive, unbearably beautiful. The camera held the orbit steady. Night was moving beneath the station. Oceans like ink, cities scattered in gold, glowing like embers under ash. Then a thin white line appeared across the center of the planet. Not an explosion, not a crack, just a line, as if someone had dragged a needle across a photograph. The line widened. Earth folded inward and disappeared, without a blast, without a sound, without debris. Only emptiness remained. Mira watched the recording without blinking. "That was 23 minutes ago," January said. "Why did the alarm not activate?" "It did. I did not hear it. You were in the children's sector. The system determined that the children's psychological state was the priority and did not initiate a general alarm. Mira slowly looked up toward the ceiling. You hid the disappearance of Earth from me because the children might be frightened. No, I hid it from the children. You received 57 notifications on your wrist terminal. Mira looked down at her wrist. The terminal screen was black. She remembered the impact. 50 minutes earlier, in the children's sector, little Timur had broken the mug, the one with the bear. Mira had bent down to pick up the fragments, slipped on spilled water, and struck her wrist against the edge of a table. The terminal had gone dark. They had repaired the mug with polymer because Timur had cried and said he could not sleep unless the bear was safe. Now the bear smiled again on the table, and Earth was gone. How much time do we have? Mira asked. At standard consumption, 91 days. In emergency conservation mode, 146 days. Communication, no recipients. The moon? Absent. Mars, Venus, the sun? Absent. Mira gripped the edge of the table. The stars? Absent. Then where are we? January paused again. The question is not valid. To determine location, one requires a universe. Mira sank into the chair opposite the fireplace. The flame shifted in yellow, orange, and red. It did not know the world had ended. It kept burning because someone once had programmed it to burn. Behind the sealed doors, 118 children were sleeping in the complete certainty that in the morning they would wake, drink cocoa, look at Earth through the viewport, and send messages to their parents. Mira pressed her palms against her eyes. Then January said, "Captain, what? We have received an incoming signal." Mira lifted her head. "From whom?" "Unknown. Format. Audio. Play it." Static filled the observation deck, sharp and thin like a knife drawn across glass. Then there was a voice, a child's voice. It spoke Russian, but with an old accent Mira had never heard before. "Cradle," the voice said. "Do not return home." Mira stood. "Repeat that." The signal hissed. "Do not return home," the child said again, "because if you do, you will kill us." And the connection died. 7 minutes later, Mira stood in the central hub while January pulled every file connected to Project Cradle from the archives. The archive resisted. Not physically, of course, but she could feel the delay. Files opened slowly, with stutters. Some were damaged. Some were encrypted with her own captain's key, although she would have sworn she had never encrypted them. A logo appeared on the screen, a child's hand against a background of stars. Cradle, Humanities. First step toward an interstellar childhood. Mira scrolled faster. Orbital Station, Psychological Adaptation, Educational Module, Behavioral Observation in Off-World Environments, Ordinary Words, Too Ordinary. January, Find Hidden Attachments. Access restricted. By whom? By you. Open them. Not recommended. January. Yes, Captain. Earth disappeared. The moon disappeared. The sun disappeared. I am not in the mood for recommendations. A line trembled on the screen. Attachment 12, Seed Protocol. Mira opened it. The text was short, much shorter than she expected. In the event of confirmed Omega-class occurrence, destruction, erasure, substitution, or retroactive removal of Earth, Station Cradle is to enter autonomous mode. Priority 1, preservation of children. Priority 2, preservation of cultural memory. Priority 3, search for a habitable reality suitable for settlement. Mira read it 3 times. A habitable reality? The document assumes the existence of alternative layers of space-time, January said. The terminology is outdated, A more accurate definition would be neighboring causal branches. Plain language. Other versions of the universe. Cold moved along Mira's spine. This was not an educational trip. January was silent. This was never a children's program, was it? Formally, it was. January. Station Cradle was an evacuation ark. Mira closed her eyes. She remembered the parents waving to their children from Earth. The press conferences, the banners, the interviews, little backpacks, mothers crying, fathers trying to look proud, psychologists promising that 3 months in orbit was safe. No one had said, "We are sending your children away because Earth may be removed from reality." Who knew? Mira asked. The World Council, Scientific Group Threshold, Military Oversight. You. I did not know. You signed the protocol. A recording appeared. Mira saw herself, 5 years younger, short-haired, exhausted, with the eyes of someone who had not slept for days. She sat in a white room before a camera. I, Mira Andreevna Safonova, accept command of Station Cradle, the woman in the recording said. In the event of an Omega-class occurrence, I agree to ensure execution of the SEED protocol, even if after activation, part of my memory has been altered. Mira stepped back. My memory, the recording continued. I understand that to preserve the psychological stability of the crew, certain information will remain blocked until the event occurs. I understand that, after the event, Earth may be removed, not only physically, but causally. I understand that, in such a case, doubt in my own memories is to be considered a normal response. The mirror on the screen leaned closer to the camera. Future me, if you are watching this, do not waste time denying it. You agreed, because there was no other choice. The recording ended. The central hub went still. What destroyed Earth? Mira asked. Unknown. Who sent the signal? Unknown. Can you trace it? Partially. The signal did not come from space. Then where did it come from? Time. Mira looked at the station map. At the center was a module she had never entered. Sector D. Its doors had always carried a sign. Technical maintenance. Entry prohibited. Even for the captain. Now the sign was gone. What is in Sector D? A probability engine. Mira gave a dry, almost silent laugh. Of course, why not? The engine can move the station into a neighboring causal branch if a transition coordinate is provided. So we can find another Earth? Theoretically. Practically, the jump requires an anchor. What kind of anchor? A living memory of the destination? Mira frowned. Explain. One cannot reach a reality one knows nothing about. The probability engine uses human memories as coordinates. The stronger the memory, the more precise the transition. The children remember Earth. Our Earth. It has been removed. But there are other versions of Earth. We need an image that could exist across many branches. Home, warmth, a smell, a sense of safety. A universal coordinate. Mira slowly turned toward the observation deck. The fireplace. That is why it is here. Yes, the holographic fireplace is a navigation instrument. Not the fireplace itself, the archive of home memories on which it operates. Mira remembered that the children had been allowed to upload earthly fragments into the station. The smell of a grandmother's kitchen, the sound of rain, a dog barking, a door creaking, a father's song, the light in a bedroom window. It had been called a therapeutic library. In truth, it was a map home. How many memories do we have? 118 child cores, 1 captain's core, 72,000 archival fragments. Use the archival fragments. Insufficient. Why? They were recorded from adult descriptions. They are not alive. Mira understood before January said it. You need the children's memories. Yes. What does use mean? Erase the memory from the carrier and convert it into a coordinate impulse. From the carrier, meaning from the brain? No, from the reserve neural copy. Mira exhaled. So the children will not forget? They will. What exactly? The memory that is used. Mira turned away sharply. Somewhere in the children's sector, Timur was sleeping, the boy who could not sleep without the mug with the bear. He had a memory of a kitchen in Bishkek, of his mother blowing on hot tea, of yellow light over the table. He had talked about it during a lesson. Mira remembered how he laughed when he said the bear on the mug looked like his grandfather. To find a new Earth, they would have to take the warmest memories from the children. Maybe one. Maybe all of them. No, Mira said. Without transition, the station will remain in the void layer, January said. Resources are finite. Then find another way? There is one. Mira slowly turned back. What way? The captain's core. Her name appeared on the screen. Mira Andreevna Safonova. Age 39. Neural copy complete. Emotional density high. Engine compatibility 93%. My memories? Yes? How much would you need? All of them. Mira did not understand at first. What do you mean, all? To transition without child cores, the complete captain's neural copy must be used. After the impulse, your autobiographical core will be erased. I will forget myself? Yes. But I will remain alive. Biologically, yes. Mira laughed softly. It was madness. Funny, terrible, almost beautiful madness. Earth had disappeared. The universe had disappeared. And the choice was still ordinary and human. Give away what belongs to you, or take from children. Why did I not launch this in advance? She asked. The protocol requires the captain's confirmation after an Omega event. So the previous me decided that the future me should personally agree to die inside her own head. That phrasing is imprecise, but honest. January was silent. Mira returned to the observation deck. The fireplace still burned. She sat in front of it and tried to remember the first thing that had truly been hers. Not her career, not the station, not commands. Home, childhood, the smell of wet asphalt after summer rain, her grandmother cutting apples into thin slices, her father repairing an old radio, her mother falling asleep in an armchair with a book. Mira herself, small and barefoot, sitting on the floor before a real fireplace in a friend's country house, and thinking fire was a living animal that could be tamed if you watched it long enough. These memories were not pictures. They were her. If they were erased, what would remain? A body, a voice, skills, commands, the shape of a captain with no road back inside her. Mira looked at the empty viewport. January. If I use my core, what is the probability of finding a habitable reality? 41%? Less than half? Yes. And if we use the children's memories? Up to 86%. Mira closed her eyes. There it was. That was why they needed a captain and not a machine. A machine would say 86 is greater than 41. A human being had to answer. Children do not owe adults their best chance. At that moment the speakers hissed again. The signal. The same child's voice. Cradle, it said. You have found the engine. Mira stood. Who are you? A pause. I am Timur. Mira went cold. Timur is asleep in the children's sector. Not your Timur. The voice was weak, as if coming from the bottom of a deep well. I am from the branch where you jumped the first time. The first time? Yes. Mira felt her fingers go numb. We have already transitioned. Many times. January interrupted sharply. Captain, the signal is unstable. This may be a causal attack. Be quiet, Timur. What happened? You looked for Earth. Every time. At first you used the archives, then your memories, then ours. Mira clenched her fists. I would not. You did. Not at first. Only when resources ran out. When children got sick. When January showed you the probabilities. You cried and said you were taking only small memories. The smell of bread, snow, a mother's voice. Then we forgot why we wanted to go home. Mira could not breathe. That is a lie? I said that too, when I still remembered my father. The fireplace crackled. Timur continued. In one branch we found Earth, but we were already there. Another cradle. Children brought by another you. Two versions could not exist beside each other. Reality began rejecting the surplus. You chose us, then them, then us again. Stop, Mira whispered. In another branch Earth was alive, but there were no people, only cities and working traffic lights. We lived there 3 years. Then the children started disappearing one by one, because that Earth did not know we were supposed to exist. Why are you telling me this? So you do not return home. Then what should we do? The voice grew quieter. Stay. Mira looked into the black viewport. In the void? It is not the void. The screen flickered. January displayed signal analysis, but the numbers fell apart. Where you are now, Timur said, nothing has been decided yet. It is the place before choice, not reality, and not the absence of reality. You do not have to search for Earth. You can make a new one. Mira said nothing. How? You have children. You have memory. You have an engine that turns memories into coordinates. But a coordinate does not have to lead backward. It can lead forward. You are speaking in riddles. Because I am a child, Captain. We always speak in riddles when adults refuse to hear simple things. The connection crackled. Do not give us back to the past, Timur said. We have already died there too many times. The signal ended. Mira stood before the fireplace. For the first time she understood. The question was not how to go home. The question was whether a person had the right to call only the place they came from home. An hour later the children woke. Mira did not lie. She gathered them on the observation deck in front of the fireplace, where evening readings were usually held. 118 children sat on the soft floor in pajamas, sleepy-faced and confused. One held a plush cat. Another twisted a sleeve around one finger. Some were already crying because children sense the truth before words arrive. Behind the viewport there was darkness. Mira stood before them and, for the first time in her life, did not know how to speak. Earth disappeared, she said. The deck filled with noise. Someone screamed. Someone laughed, thinking it was a game. A small girl named Ayana said, "No, my mother is there." An older boy ran to the viewport as if Earth might simply be hiding beyond the edge of the glass. Mira let them make noise. She did not activate the calming protocol. She did not ask January to soften their emotions. She did not say, "Everything will be all right," because everything was not all right. When the children were too tired to shout, she told them about Cradle. Not every detail, not every horror, but the truth, that the station could search for another reality, that memories were needed, that she had a choice, use their memories, or use her own, that there had been a signal from another version of Timur, that returning might be a trap. The children listened. 118 children listened, the way adults forget how to listen, with their whole bodies, their whole skin, their whole fear. Then Ayana raised her hand. "If you forget yourself," she asked, "will you forget us too?" Mira couldn't answer at once. Yes, she said. Maybe. Then who will be captain? Mira looked toward the ceiling. January will help. He is a machine, said the older boy. His name was Lev. He was 12 and argued with everything. Machines do not know when something is scary. I know, January said from above. Everyone looked up. You cannot know, Lev said. I can. Fear is the projection of losing something valuable. I project the loss of you. Therefore I experience the functional equivalent of fear. The children were silent. Do you want to go home? Little Ayana asked. January was silent longer than usual. I have never been on Earth, he said, but all my first data about the world were recorded there. Perhaps that is a form of longing. Mira felt a knot rise in her throat. Then Timur, the real Timur, the one with the mug, stood up. I can give the bear, he said. Mira knelt in front of him. What? He held the mug in both hands. If you need a memory, I can give the bear, just not my mother, and not my grandfather. But the bear is all right. I am big now. Mira's lips trembled. Then the girl with the plush cat stood. I can give the memory of when we went to the sea, she said. Not all of it. Only the part where I lost my sandal. Someone else said, I can give the smell of the school cafeteria. I hate it. I can give the time a dog bit me. I can give my math test. I can give the day my dad promised he would come and didn't. The children began offering memories. Bad ones, funny ones, small ones, useless ones, or so they thought. Mira listened and something inside her broke, because she understood. The children did not want to be rescued at the price of her disappearance. They wanted to take part. They wanted to be treated as people, not cargo. January, Mira said quietly. Can we use many weak memories instead of a few strong ones? Theoretically, yes, but the coordinate will be unstable. What if we add part of my core? A new configuration may be possible. What kind? The screen came alive. Data streamed in columns. A collective impulse, not a return to an existing Earth, but the formation of a local causal branch based on shared memory. Translate. We may be able to make a small world. The children went completely still. A real one? Ayana asked. As real as Earth was, January said. Lev snorted. That sounds suspicious. Agreed, January said. Mira almost smiled. What would it require? Voluntary memories from all children. Not traumatic ones. Not central ones. Fragments of everyday life. Smells, sounds, details. And part of the captain's core. What part? The memory of home. Mira looked at the fireplace. There it was. Not everything. Not her name. Not her entire childhood. But the one feeling from which the engine might build a direction. Home, not an address. Not a planet. Not a point in space. A feeling. You can fall asleep because someone nearby is staying awake. I agree, Mira said. The decision is irreversible, January said. I know. The result is unpredictable. Anything is better than stealing their mothers. Mira turned to the children. No one has to give any memory. Not even a small one. Not even an unpleasant one. This is your choice. Ayana came first. She placed her palm on the scanner. I give the memory of the sandal, she said solemnly. But let there be a sea in the new world. Then Lev came. I give the math test, he said. But let math be easier in the new world. I cannot promise that, January said. Lev smiled for the first time. The children came one after another. One gave the taste of oversalted soup. One gave the sound of a neighbor's drill. One gave the feeling of a scratchy sweater. One gave the day gum stuck to a shoe. One gave an old hurt they had long wanted to forget. but now offered not to escape it, but to make it a brick in a new world. Each memory flashed in the fireplace like a tiny spark. The flame grew brighter. Not a hologram. Mira felt heat on her face. "January," she whispered. "Is this possible?" "It is already happening." When the last child stepped away from the scanner, a real fire was burning on the deck. It should not have existed. There was no wood, no oxygen budget for open flame, no hearth built to withstand heat. And yet the fire lived. It was made of lost sandals, over-salted soup, school corridors, wet mittens, old cartoons, broken mugs, and promises adults had not always kept. Mira came last. The scanner waited. On the screen appeared a single line. Captain's memory. Home. She closed her eyes and saw herself as a child. That evening, the country house, a real fireplace. Adults talking about something boring in the next room. Snow beyond the window. She sits on the carpet and watches the fire. Her father comes in and covers her with a blanket. He thinks she is asleep and softly says, "Remember this, Mirka. Home is not where the walls are. Home is where you do not have to earn being loved." She had forgotten that sentence for many years. Now she had to give it away. "Ready," Mira said. "Confirm." She opened her eyes. The children were watching her. Timur held the mug with the bear. Lev had stopped arguing. Ayana clutched her plush cat. Mira smiled at them so they would remember her that way. Not heroic, not fearless, just an adult who did not look away at the necessary moment. "I confirm." The fireplace burst into light. Not fire, light. The station disappeared, not the way Earth had disappeared, not into nothing. The way a seed disappears into soil. The first thing Mira heard was rain, then smell, wet grass, smoke, warm bread, metal after a storm, sea salt, dust from a school gym, orange peel, old books, milk boiling over on a stove. All of it at once. She opened her eyes. They were standing in a field. Above them was sky, a real sky, enormous and grey-blue, heavy with clouds. A forest darkened on the horizon. Somewhere far away, water was moving. Beneath their feet was grass, wet and cold. The children said nothing. Then Ayana dropped to her knees and touched the ground. "It is real," she said. Lev lifted his head. "Where is the station?" The station lay behind them, but it was no longer only metal, no longer dead white and sealed. It had changed. Its modules had become something like a long house with windows. In the center, in the transparent observation deck, the fireplace was still burning. Mira tried to remember why the sight made her want to cry. She could not. She knew her name. She knew she was captain. She knew she had to protect the children. But inside, where the word home had once lived, there was now a warm emptiness. Timur came to her. "Captain Mira." "Yes." He held out the mug. "You said if you forgot something important, we should remind you." Mira took the mug. On it was the bear. "I said that." "Yes." "Then remind me." Timur thought for a moment. "Home is where you do not have to earn being loved." Mira looked at him. The sentence opened no door in memory. It did not return her father, the snow, the blanket, the fireplace. But somewhere deep in the darkest room of her soul, something answered. Not a memory. A sprout. She held the mug against her chest. "Thank you," she said. And at that moment the new world took its first breath. Wind moved through the grass. The forest murmured. A wave struck in the distance. The smell of rain rose from the earth, though the rain had not yet begun. January spoke from Mira's wrist terminal. "Captain, I am detecting stable causality. Atmosphere suitable. Water present. Biosphere forming." "Forming?" "Yes." "So the world is not finished?" "No." Mira looked at the children. They stood in the middle of the field, frightened, exhausted, alive, the last children of old Earth, the first people of the new one. "Then we will finish building it," she said. 20 years passed. They named the world Bearland because of the mug they placed on the first shelf in the first house. Later, some shortened it to Bear. It sounded ridiculous for a planet, but no one objected. People who had survived the end of Earth had little patience for solemn names. The children grew up. Lev became an architect and still argued with January, which by then had become a tradition. Ayana studied the sea, which had indeed appeared, vast and warm, with turquoise shallows and strange silver fish. Timur opened a school and told the first-year children every year that the first state relic of Bearland was a mug with a bear on it, because a civilization should begin not with a weapon and not with a flag, but with something a child would be sorry to break. Mira grew old. She lived in a house beside the station, which had slowly rooted itself into the ground. Every evening she came to the observation deck, sat before the fireplace, and listened to the crackling flames. Sometimes the children, now adults, asked whether she regretted the memory she had lost. She always answered, "I do not remember what I lost, so regret is difficult." But that was not true. She did not remember home, but she felt its absence. The way a person feels a missing tooth, the way the sea feels the moon, even when clouds hide it. One evening, when the sky above Bearland turned violet and 2 small moons rose above the horizon, moons no one had planned, moons born from some child's old dream, January said, "Captain." "Yes, we have received a signal." Mira smiled. Again, signals came rarely. Sometimes they were the noise of old branches, sometimes voices too distant to understand, sometimes crying, sometimes laughter. The world was new, but its roots ran through many possible catastrophes. "Audio format," January said. Mira grew still. "Play it." The fireplace crackled. Then came a voice, a child's voice, but not Timur's. It was unfamiliar, very far away, speaking a language Mira did not know. January translated with a delay. "Cradle," the voice said. "We found your fire." Mira slowly stood. "Who are you?" A pause. "We live in the dark," the voice said. "We never had stars. We never had planets. Only emptiness. But one day, a light appeared in it. Small, warm. It showed us that we did not have to be alone." Mira approached the fireplace. The fire burned calmly. January source? The void layer. Mira felt the cold return. The very layer where they had found themselves after Earth disappeared. The place before choice. The place they had left. "There is someone there. Now there is," the voice continued. "We did not know what home was. Your fire taught us. We built the first circle around it. Then the second. Then we gave names to things. Then we began to remember." Mira was silent. "We want to ask," the voice said. "Are you gods?" Mira looked into the flame for a long time. Then a terrible, astonishing thought came to her. They had not only created a new world for themselves. When they lit the fire in the void, they left a spark behind. And around that spark someone had begun to exist. Not human, not children of Earth. Something else, born from darkness, yet taught warmth by the memories they had lost. Mira sat before the fireplace. She thought of Earth, which she could no longer fully remember. She thought of the children who had given tiny, useless pieces of the past and grown a planet from them. She thought of how adults always believe salvation means preserving what was. But children know. Sometimes salvation means sharing the fire and leaving before anyone can thank you. No, Mira said into the microphone. We are not gods. January transmitted the translation. Then who are you? The voice asked. Mira looked at the mug with the bear, standing on the shelf by the fire, and suddenly she smiled. We are the ones who were once afraid of the dark too. A long pause followed. Then the voice asked, Can you tell us a story? Mira closed her eyes. She did not remember her first home. She did not remember the snow beyond the window. She did not remember her father's hand drawing a blanket over her shoulders. But the sentence Timur had once returned to her no longer lived inside her as a memory. It had become a law of the new universe. Home is where you do not have to earn being loved. Mira leaned toward the fire and began. When Earth disappeared from the viewport, Captain Mira Safonova was still holding a child's mug with a painted bear on it, and only January understood what she did not. This was not the end of the story. It was the first time the new universe had heard of the old one, which meant Earth had not disappeared after all. It had simply become a story, now carried forward by those who had never seen it.